All Things Bike with Fred Thomas is brought to you by Frame and Wheel, eBay selling services for cyclists and bike shops throughout New England, and AD Bikes, the modern face of Austro-Daimler cycling and the bike company of the future.
Hi there, everybody. I'm Fred Thomas, and you are watching another episode of All Things Bike, a new program dedicated to the bicycle, the culture of the bicycle, and the people and the organizations that make the bicycle community roll here and away. We have a great show lined up for you today. We will be speaking with Jim Huebner, president and founder of Kettle Cove Enterprises, the company that manufactures the trap basket. And we will be speaking with Jeremy Litchfield of Attain LLC, the company that manufactures environmentally and socially responsible performance apparel. And we will be doing a bike tour with John Baldwin of Gorham Bike and Ski, and he's going to show us some of the cool bikes that he has. But before we do that, I want to let you know again that we have a website, allthingsbiketv.com, and we have a Facebook page, All Things Bike with Fred Thomas, and you can reach out to us there and learn more about the show, learn how to be on the show, learn how to be a sponsor of the show, and connect with us directly. But enough of that, let's talk to our guests. Hi, Jim.
Morning, Fred. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. It's a great pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
It's great to, to see how the trap basket has evolved.
Yes.
I see them around. I even have one.
Yeah, that's right.
And you're all over the press. And now, finally, you are on All Things Bike.
No, I'm excited. I appreciate the opportunity to tell you some more about it and background and tell the listening audience, the watching audience, all about it.
What is the story? I mean, the connection between lobstering and cycling. I mean, that's a small intersection, but what is it?
On the personal side, as you know, I bicycle a lot.
Yep.
I'm an engineer, mechanical engineer, and I also have a commercial lobster license. So with that background, it's not difficult to segue into what I've created. But the inspiration behind it was about 3 years ago. I was sitting at a stoplight waiting for the light to turn, and there's a bicyclist there, and he's got the milk crate bungeed on the back, bungee cords going everywhere, and I'm just we've all seen it before. I'm just sitting there looking at it, and for some reason the light bulb went on, and I thought, I can do better than that. Yeah. So then I went back home, and first I ran the idea by my wife, because she's
very important.
She said, "No, that's a good idea, making a basket out of lobster trap." Yeah. And so I started cutting up some of my old traps that I couldn't fish anymore, and I started experimenting with sizes, how they go on the bikes, and this is, as you can see right here, this is a result of that.
Well, how long does it take to make one, for example?
Well,
now that you're good at it, I mean, best time?
Probably a half hour for the rear basket, 20, 25 minutes for the front basket. And that's, I make them in my garage upstairs. I have since I'm a lobsterman, I have all the tools to make a trap. Right. And that's what I'm using. I just bend them in a different way. And do you mind if I show you the different things about it?
Let's take a closer look.
This is the front basket. Right. And it comes with the hardware, fit any bike. And some of the really cool things about it, when you get to your destination, all you do, you pull that pin, and you can take it off, bring it with you. You've got a handle, you can carry it with you just like a tote. Inside, you've got a bait bag, lobsterman. It's a clean bait bag. I don't recycle the bait bags. But in here you can see I have a cell phone or your keys or something that you don't want to fall through the cracks.
Yeah, no, I mean this would just be devastating on the sidewalks of Beverly Hills. People are going to wonder.
And so this and the brackets comes with I sell them with the brackets. You just slip it back on, and again, it's just take this pin, put it on, and you're ready to go.
Cool.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
Made from trap wire. So, which is made to be in salt water.
Right.
It's not going to rust out on you. It's going to last a long
it's
time.
durable. Yeah.
So
how many lobsters can you fit in there, do you think?
I'm not sure. Depending on, I've had lobsters big enough that I can hardly get it. I wonder how they got in my trap. They're so big.
Size of a small dog. Right?
Yeah.
But
It's incredible.
you have to throw those back.
Yes,
unless you're in Canada.
Yeah. You got to throw the small ones back and the big ones back and the eggers back.
Well, what are the features of the other one here? This
is the rear trap basket.
Right.
As you can see, I've already got a bottle of wine right here. You can see I got bungee cords, so nothing will will roll around if you've got something that might break. And you can see I've also got it mounted on a rear rack I brought along, so you can see it'll be sitting just like this behind the saddle on the bike. And again, when you get to your destination, much like the front one, you want to hook it here.
Right.
And it slips right off.
Yeah.
There you go.
You bring it with you.
Put that down. You've got handles to carry it with you, again, like a tote.
Very, very cutting edge fashion-wise.
There you go. Color coordinated. I can make them get the wire in different colors. I have green. That's the most popular one.
Yeah, that's authentic.
But everything on here, just like on a lobster trap,
everything
on here has a purpose. It's not just nothing on here is just for decoration. Although it does make it look cool. We'll start at the bottom. You've got runners. These are like under the lobster trap. These keep the trap off the ocean floor.
Right.
And here I fashioned what my quick release is what goes against the rear of the rack, and along with the front bungee.
Right.
Gives it that tension to hold it on.
Let me ask you this. This is clearly a Maine product, right?
Absolutely.
I mean,
in
this
fact,
is
the wire
Maine
is
right
made
from the top. But when I've seen the articles in the press, and it's always Maine man makes basket from lobsters, and it's funny because it suggests that nobody in Maine is making anything. You know, I mean, I guess the media is in a rut. But I mean, what's your? I mean, how does the Made in Maine, position affect your marketing message, or how does it resonate with consumers? Because it's a good thing, but sometimes it
Well, it depends where. I sell a lot online, and in fact, I just had an order from California a couple of weeks ago.
That's part of Maine. Right?
But that's right. Frequently, the customers will have ties to Maine.
I see. Yeah.
They either vacation here, their grandmother is from your mom or dad.
Summer relationship of some sort.
Or, but Maine is cool.
Yeah.
In the marketing sense.
Yeah.
So people are curious about that.
Yeah. I can see the appeal, and I imagine customers connect with it too. But do you have customers in Peoria, the sort of general?
Oh, yeah. There's very few states that I haven't sold a trap basket, which is, it's incredible to me.
I guess because the lobster is a global creature.
It is.
And therefore the lobster trap is still accessible. It's funny, you don't see any Maryland man makes trap basket out of crab basket. Right?
No.
But, so it doesn't, Maryland crab doesn't have the same.
No, it doesn't have the same cachet.
Sort of cachet. No,
that's right.
Well, what are the future products that we should expect?
My next venture is to develop, using trap wire.
Sure, yeah.
You've seen the little shopping carts of people that go to the islands, or they may be just, they don't have a car and they're going to the grocery store.
Oh, okay.
The carts.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
But like I haven't seen one, but I can see the functionality.
I'm still working on it.
Yeah, research department.
Yeah, it's research and development.
Yeah. Well, that's exciting. And do you do custom baskets?
I have. I've made them in different colors. I've made them in different sizes.
Right.
I've made them several for people who want to bring their dogs with them.
Wow.
Yeah.
So is that?
So they're a little bit bigger. Well, they're usually not big dogs.
Ah, yes, yeah, right.
And actually, if you go to my website, which is kettlecoveenterprises.com,
Right.
there's a video right there. And when I first, I road tested these. I sent a group, a
I
bunch
do remember
down
that.
to,
That's
down to Brooklyn, New York.
Yeah, and they put a dog in there.
And they put a dog in there, and you'll see on the video on the website, the dog appears, and I put the trap basket through its paces in the streets of Brooklyn, New York.
And that was a little bit unintended, right? Because the video was supposed to suggest, hey, you can even put your dog in it, and people say, hey, what a great idea.
And I've sold several like that. I've sold several for mopeds.
Is that right? Yeah.
And
panniers too, I think we've seen.
One of my clients, he really wanted a set of panniers because he does not have a car.
Right.
And he does everything on his bike. So I rubbed my chin and took some dimensions, and we made it happen.
Well, we're running out of time, but what would the last thing would be? Where can people go? I mean, there's the website, of course, but where can people go to see and feel and touch and try out one of the trap baskets?
KettleCoveEnterprises.com again.
Yep.
I sell them in several bike shops, some local ones, Gorham Bike and Ski in Back Bay. I have one up in Rockland, down in Kennebunkport and Portsmouth.
Well, that's good.
And
beyond soon.
And beyond, yeah. So.
Well done, Jim. Thanks so much. It's great to see how this has come along, and I look forward to seeing more of them around.
Thank you very much for having me, Fred.
Absolutely, anytime. Well, that's all we have for the first segment, everybody. Don't go away, however. We will be back with our second guest.
Three feet could mean the difference between life and death. Give at least 3 feet of clearance when passing bicyclists. It's the law. Learn more about bicycle safety at www.bikemaine.org.
Hi there, everybody. We are back, and we are speaking with Jeremy Litchfield, the president and founder of Attain LLC, the company that manufactures socially and environmentally responsible performance apparel. Jeremy, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, it's a great treat to have you down here. I've heard about Attain for the longest time, and now we have the opportunity to learn more about the product. And for me, the most fascinating thing is that in the most general sense, you're making performance apparel out of recycled materials. Please explain, because I think a lot of people just might have a hard time getting their head around that one.
Sure. Well, when I started the company, it was really out of dissatisfaction what was out there for performance apparel, and I just had an experience with some of the gear that I had where the
red dye
just bled all over me, and I just started doing research, and I realized that the way a lot of this stuff is made is out of line with the values I have around the environment and human safety. But at the same time is when a lot of innovation was happening with materials and being able to use plastic bottles to make polyester. And because when you think about polyester and number one plastics, they're actually the same chemical form. It's just they're in kind of different forms.
Is that right?
And so I realized that was the direction I wanted to go, and just decided to quit my job and start a company that made performance apparel from recycled fabrics.
Right, and it's been the best work you've ever done ever since, right? And
the
also
hardest,
the hardest too.
yes.
Yeah, but if you like what you're doing, it's not work and all that, and that's great. I mean, can you elaborate on the process here? I mean, for layman terms, I suppose. I mean, is a bottle, is it melted down and then turned into string, and then you're weaving it?
Yeah. So essentially, if you think about a lot of, it's what's interesting is states like Maine probably supply a lot of the stock that go into higher value items like fabric because they're clean. Plastic bottles because we have a redemption here. And essentially, what has happened is the mills that we work with, they buy the bottles from a lot of municipal recycling facilities, and they get cleaned and chipped down, and eventually they'll just get melted printed and extruded, and they go into very, very fine fibers, like finer than a human hair.
Right.
And those get spun together to create a recycled polyester yarn.
I see.
And then those yarns, different types of yarns go into different types of fabrics, but those get knit together to make our fabrics.
Right. And you're weaving them up in Brunswick?
No,
you're getting the fabric, right?
The fabric, all of our fabrics in our yarns are made in North Carolina with some that we work with a couple of mills down there.
Yeah, I mean, that's textile territory, right?
Exactly.
That's what they do.
Yeah. There used to be a lot. There used to be some in Massachusetts, a little bit in Maine, but it's primarily down in the Carolinas where you can get actually domestic sourced fabrics now.
Right. Well, I mean, that's another feature that I think, again, people are not aware of. It's the just-in-time manufacturing process using materials that are so sourced nationally. Again, I mean, that sort of process is something that's almost foreign to most people now, because it's like, well, it just comes in from Asia and that's that.
Yeah. Well, when I started the company, I literally had no money. I was just starting it and had a little bit, and it was on a shoestring, and I realized that. Right? I was like, okay, well, I have to figure out how I can sell product and then make it, and that made me develop a lean, made-to-order production process. Yeah. And that was also driven a lot by environmental values. Is when you look at the apparel industry in general, a lot of this stuff is being made a year to 18 months in advance, and people are guessing what's going to be wanted on the market.
That's right.
And anytime you're using resources to make things that aren't needed or wanted, you're using resources that
guesswork.
Yeah. And so I was like, how about we develop a model that's designed to make sure that we're getting customers really what they want in terms of designs and styles, and also being much more sensitive on the environment, not only in terms of the materials, but the process. And that just opened up a whole new line of business for us in terms of how we can actually service our customers.
Right. And you're a runner, so you knew exactly what kind of shirt is going to speak to the running community.
Exactly.
And I mean, what kind of, I mean, what is the most popular product, for example, or what is?
Really, we have so many different designs that we do, just because a lot of our stuff is, like to call it hyper-personalized. It's very customized, not only to individual groups, but also we have a lot where people can go on and they can customize their own products on different websites.
Really?
So we really want to focus on serving the needs of people to the individual, not just at the group level. But ultimately we do, right now, over the last couple of years, just our cycling jerseys in general have exploded. It's been an area of growth for us.
Wonderful.
And something that we brought in later. Originally we were focused on running, and started to get more into cycling, and that's been a huge area of growth for us. So we do a lot of cycling jerseys for events and clubs. And it's just a basic cycling jersey is one of our most popular items. Yeah,
well, you brought one along, right?
I did.
Let's take a look. Let's see. That's great.
So this is actually from our friends over at the Bicycle Coalition of Maine. This is the jersey we do for the lobster ride that we've done the last couple of years. And it's the fabric is just like any performance fabric.
Sure.
You would never know the difference. And with our products, we always try to make sure that we're going the extra step of adding features to it that you wouldn't normally get in products that are priced at our level. I mean, we're not competing with the super high-end cycling gear, but we're not low-end either. But just simple things like having a gripper elastic at the bottom, doing a full zip, and really using a high-quality zipper,
and the zipper is hidden.
Exactly. And most hidden zippers use a dress zipper, which it's a very low quality zipper that's very hard to get down. With this, we went with a more substantial, nicer zipper and used a lap construction over the zipper to hide it, which it's a little bit more expensive to do that, but that's important for us. And just simple things like having a zipper garage and a wind flap, so the actual zipper doesn't rest up against your skin, and just trying to do small attention to details like that, and having the 3 pockets in the back, which is pretty standard.
That's right.
But we try to really focus on super, some of the details that you might not get from other
that's
suppliers.
right. And then there's this sublimation process.
And this is the actual. This is all done up in Brunswick. About 2 years ago, we opened our own sublimation facility, and about a year ago, we moved it onto the old Navy base on Brunswick Landing, and have and do all of our sublimation right there.
Right on. Well, I mean, this is a fascinating, to know that such a large operation is so nearby. I mean, when you talk to your customers, are they making a connection between your product and Maine, or are they seeing more of the environmental and social aspects of it, or all three?
I think it's all three. Because I think we have the benefit of being it. And actually, I originally started the company. We were based out of Washington, D.C., or Northern Virginia.
Well, that's part of Maine, too.
And, yeah, right. And I grew up in Maine, decided after about a year and a half, I moved the company up to Maine.
Yeah, nice.
Which most people would say you're crazy to move a business to Maine, but that's where my heart was.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think, but also being a company based in Maine, when people from out of the state hear that, there's instant credibility in terms of how you operate that people assume because of companies like L.L. Bean and Tom's of Maine. So people just instantly, when they know that we're from Maine, they make that connection. It just makes sense to them that we have very strong environmental and social values. But there's also going to be a quality component to it. And so moving to Maine wasn't just about coming back and being home, but it was also about being able to tell a story about the company, type of company we want to be.
Yeah, I mean, and so much has changed since Tom's of Maine and L.L. Bean. I mean, in those days it was rotary phones and that's it. But now you can run a national, global operation from your garage or from your, the old Navy base in Maine, and it's the 21st century. It's all good. Now, what about future products? I mean, will you be going into jackets and this kind of direction? Or
yeah, absolutely. We're always trying to figure out what's the our goal. And we always say that we make progressive outdoor and active apparel. And by progressive, it's like how are we pushing boundaries on everything we do of moving things forward, and not just thinking about materials, but manufacturing processes and making sure that we're developing and bringing new products in that are right for our audience. So from a cycling standpoint, that's a big area of growth for us right now. We want to be, we're working on being able to outfit the cyclist head to toe, really.
Right.
And so we're cycling shorts and bibs and jackets and long sleeve jerseys. Our next cycling item that's actually going to come out, which should launch in the next few weeks, is a women's sleeveless jersey, which is pretty popular. And then
for these event rides.
Exactly. And so there's a whole, we have so many products in our pipeline right now. It's just figuring out what is the right time
which
to
ones
bring
to
them.
choose.
It's hard. It's hard as a bootstrap company to figure that out.
And your customers are not just in Maine, although there are some. Where can we see these?
We have a lot of customers in Maine. Maine has been very good to us. We work with everyone from the Bicycle Coalition of Maine to Center Street Cycles in Brunswick to Cadillac Mountain Sports up in Ellsworth and Bar Harbor, and a lot of different cycling groups. Like we work with the Gritty McDuff cycling team and the Merry Meeting Wheelers and the Dempsey Challenge. So we work with a lot within Maine, but Maine is actually a fraction of our business, which is good because it gives a small Maine company like us exposure to much larger markets.
Like they're riding their bikes in Australia right now, and to ship a jersey there.
We just shipped an order to New Zealand for one of our jerseys, so we're shipping international.
That's as far away from Maine as you can get.
Pretty much, I think it is.
Antarctica. Well, that's great. And then just locally, the stores where people can see them are any locations in particular that you would like to mention?
Yeah, Center Street Cycles is a great customer, and Cadillac Mountain Sports are the big ones. And then
and the website.
And the website. And we're actually getting ready to hopefully within the next few weeks is launch a new collection of jerseys on our website for the national parks and the 100th anniversary of the national parks. So we're going to be developing some around Acadia and a variety of national parks.
That's exciting stuff. That's great stuff, Jeremy. Thanks so much. It's that's about all the time we have. But if you want to see more, you can certainly go to the website. Thanks for coming down.
Thank you so much for having me.
And that's all we have time for today. Thanks very much for watching the show. Again, you can see more about the show, allthingsbiketv.com, and you can see more about Attain and Kettle Cove Enterprises. Don't go away. We will be back with John Baldwin and Bike Tour. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Bike Tour. We are here with John Baldwin of Gorham Bike and Ski, and he is going to give us a tour of a bike that he has brought down to us today. How are you, John?
Hey, Fred.
Good to see you again. Thanks for coming down.
Thanks. Thanks for having me back.
Absolutely. You've got an impressive bike here today.
Oh, thank you.
Tell us about it.
I brought with me today a 2016 Pivot Mach 429 Trail.
Nice.
Yeah.
And trail, does that mean it's only for the trails, or can it be used
It's a
for the
really balanced
dirt road?
bike. Yeah, really balanced bike. It's good for cross-country, trail, even could potentially be more of an enduro bike as well.
Wow. And what's going on with this frame set? What should we know?
Well, it's a full carbon bike. So not only is the front triangle carbon, which is true of a lot of carbon full suspension bikes, but the rear triangle is all one beautifully made piece of carbon. That's Boost 148. And yeah, it's just really light, makes for an incredibly light bike.
Sweet. And how does it join, how does the rear triangle join to the front triangle?
It actually uses their DW link, so named by Dave Weigel, who was the innovator behind it. Yeah, it's a split pivot design. These really short linkages, which are kind of in place with sealed bearings. Those are, built with the intention of, less weakening over time, really light service life, so you can run them for a long time with almost no service.
So that means that the whole frame is sort of moving, has its own independent functionality. Does that make it more comfortable to ride?
Sure, yeah, it makes it more comfortable to ride. That's one aspect of it, as well as there's better compliance for the terrain. So you're always going to have a wheel in contact unless you don't want to.
Right.
And you're always going to be, yeah, exactly. If the handling is going to be a lot better. The way that the bike deals with square kind of bumps in the trail is going to be a lot better than a hardtail. Yeah, roots especially, you got it. Yeah.
Right. Well, what about the suspension? Let's talk about the suspension. You got one in the front and in the center, I guess.
Yes, yeah, it's a full suspension bike. These are both Fox shocks. In the rear you have 116 millimeters of travel. And that's got a variable dampener that you can use, or dampening that you can use. Auto sag feature. This is kind of designed to be used mid-travel. Right. So you have minimal pedal bob, and you have minimal kind of brake jack going on, and the most pedaling efficiency you can. Right. It's a really good blend.
Fast. Wheel always on the ground. And sure. Same here. We've got a lot of travel.
Yeah. Comparatively, it's a 110 millimeter travel fork. Which, actually when you take it out to the trail could feel much more, just because of how the suspension design is utilized by Pivot. It's a 34 mil stanchion, and you have your climb, trail, and descend functions that you would with your rear shock. Wow. And also through axle, front and rear. Right.
So very, very, very stiff. What about the wheels? I mean, these are 29-inch wheels. That's standard for a traditional road bike. I mean, how does that help?
And that's typically been on more cross-country bikes, but with this bike, it's able to maintain more of a trail bike feel while still having the efficiency of a cross-country bike and the rollover ability that you get with a 29-inch wheel.
That's right. Wow.
These are tubeless-ready tires that come standard, and tubeless-ready rims on all of their bikes that are pre-taped in the factory, which is awesome. And typically about like this kind of wheel is, I mentioned earlier, the Boost 148. It's going on in the front as well with their 110 mil spacing, which increases the spoke bracing angle. Right. The old kind of argument against 29-inch wheels is that they were too flexy. Right. So by increasing the spacing, it makes for a much stronger wheel, both front and rear.
So you have a very, very stiff wheels, a lot of suspension, a lot of flexibility, so this is a comfortable bike. What about the dropper function? This will be the last thing we have time to talk about. What's going on with that?
So the dropper post that you're going to find on more and more bikes, it's a mechanically actuated kind of elevator, if you will, for your seat. Right. So you can get your seat down and out of the way when you're over technical terrain. Right. You can get way behind the bike very easily. And when you want to, when your pedaling efficiency needs to come back, you can put the post back up, and there it is,
Off you go.
right where you need it.
Well, that's great stuff, John. Where can we take a look at this bike?
Gorham Bike and Ski at 693 Congress Street in Portland.
Wow.
And
Right.
I'm there most days.
Right on. Well, that's great, John. Well,
Cool.
we'll take a look and do a test ride, but we know what
Excellent.
that'll lead to.
Yeah, more bikes.
Exactly. Well, thanks, everybody. That's all the time we have for the bike tour. You can learn more about the bike at Gorham Bike and Ski, and you can check it out on gorhambikeandski.com. Thanks very much. We'll see you next time.